What up, everybody? Welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel. Yours truly here, Rama. Oh, my green screen is a little bit off. Let's just a little bit here. There you go. And right now it's Sunday night, February 5 at 7 p.m. California time, meaning episode 4 of The Last of Us just finished airing on the East Coast on HBO. That's why I'm doing this review. Let's double check that we are live here. Make sure that we are live on YouTube. Okay, apparently they post on. Okay, good. We are live. Um, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me tonight. As always, because this video review happens on the night after the episode already airs. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! This video contains spoilers. This video review is only for those of you who have already watched tonight's episode 4, right? Especially those of you who live in the East Coast. So let's get right to it. So many to talk about here. I got my bullet points on the screen, so follow along. Did you see Pedro Pascal on last night's Saturday Night Live? Just a quick side note that he did a fantastic job. I don't remember all of the skits, but that was, I think, his first time on SNL, right? And he was okay. He was pretty good, man. He was pretty good, and I hope it'll be the first of many, many more to come of his appearance on Saturday Night Live. Pedro Pascal did well, and with Mandalorian season 3 coming up, I'm sure he's gonna want to promote that too, right? In March, so we'll see. Maybe he'll come back on SNL. Um, Tonight's episode 4, I mentioned to you guys when I screened it this past Thursday. Remember, HBO gives me the screeners for each episode on a weekly basis, every Thursday, and I posted on YouTube and Twitter that without giving away too many things, I said to you guys, episode 4 is "Fight the Dead, Fear the Living." Now, where did I get that term? That's from The Walking Dead. If you recall, one of the posters of The Walking Dead, and I can show it to you later. The slogan or the title says "Fight the Dead, Fear the Living," and that's the formula that we see season after season on The Walking Dead. And of course, as to nobody's surprise, that is the same formula that The Last of Us episode, or The Last of Us show, particularly this episode, adopts. The same formula that they adopt as well. So it's not much about the infected or the clickers. I think that's what they call them, right? The clickers. It's not so much about that as it is about the living, the group that Billy. I'm sorry, not Billy. The group that Ellie and Joel encounter on this episode 4. By the way, this episode is pretty short. It's only 45 minutes long, I believe. So it's not lengthy as last week with the Bill and Frank episode. Now, as far as Joel and Ellie's relationship on this episode 4, the bonding is nice. I want to say nice. Is that the right word for it? I guess you could say that tonight's episode is the funny episode slash scary episode, but more against humans. But the funny meaning Ellie's got jokes, man. Ellie's got jokes. Holy smokes. Obviously, Ellie's has gone through quite an experience before she met Joel. As she also mentioned tonight, that she hinted that she may have hurt somebody in the past, that she may have done something bad to somebody in the past as well, although she was not willing to explain. But at the same time, she was also, whatever group that she was a part of in the past, apparently I'm assuming she got that sense of humor from them, or maybe she stumbled upon a book of jokes or something. But she's sharing those sense of humor, that sense of humor with Joel, and you know what? Joel reciprocated. Reciprocated, yeah, reciprocated. I like that Joel was not an asshole on tonight's episode. You know how in previous episodes, Joel was a bit of an asshole to Ellie, right? like he like Ellie's like, oh, bothering him, like, why am I babysitting this girl, like, why I miss Tess, that's the vibe that Joel gives off or gave off on the previous episodes. But now on tonight's episode, it's like they're getting along slowly. It's a nice, funny um road trip journey. There's that one scene where he said, he's driving and he told Ellie, you know what, you should take a nap. Go get some sleep and I'll wake you up. And she's like, no, I don't need a nap. Like I can handle this journey with you. And then it cuts to her sleeping. So it's a funny episode. The writers really want to bring out a sense of humor, if you will, on what is supposed to be a survival horror slash thriller drama of a show, and that's nice. Sometimes we could use that a breath of fresh air. Like last week. Last week was the romantic, the sweet, the happy episode of a couple, two people loving each other, and tonight is the funny slash somewhat sometimes scary episode. And that's cool. That's cool. There's another scene also that's pretty interesting from tonight's episode where Joel was siphoning an oil, siphoning oil, I should say, siphoning oil from a car, by using the good old trick of sucking from a tube out. Like that's like the such a cinematic, such a classic TV way of doing things. Like for example, you know how on TV or in movies, the characters would find the key to the house under a mat, or under a pot or under a vase in front of the door, or a key to the car, when you just open the mirror on the top, or something like that. That's like the siphoning with sucking the from the tube out. That's such a old fashioned classic. Like you could see it in any movie or on TV. um, so I had to look it up when I saw that. I was like, oh, okay, we see this too many times in many movies and on TV. Can it actually work? So I watched some YouTube. I Googled it. Like, I guess it's possible. I don't know if I want to try it. Have you guys siphoned oil from or gas from a car before? I don't know if I would want to try it. I fear that instead of spitting it out, I might get shit down my throat, and then I don't know. It's just it gets me nervous even thinking about it. um, but that's like so. Here's another thing. Here's another thing that's also classic in movies on TV. You know this. You know this. You start a car by cutting the wires underneath the steering wheel and try to jumble it up, right? You've seen that too many times as well on TV or movies. So siphoning is another thing. But of course, just like I can't explain how it works unless you YouTube tutorial it, Joel himself can't explain how it works either. Which is again part of the sense of humor on tonight's episode. That's part of the funny. And that's cool. That's really cool. The jokes that Ellie shared, there were several, but the one that sticks, of course, at the end when she said, "Hey, did you know that diarrhea is hereditary? Yes, it runs down your genes." Get it? It's a bit of a thinker, but of course, once Joel's like, "Oh, yeah," that's the visual is kind of disgusting, but yeah, that's pretty funny. So let's talk a bit about the group that they encounter. Joel mentioned to Ellie on tonight's episode that I've been on both sides of that, that whole line. That in the past, apparently Joel and Tess had been one of the same kind of. They've done the same kind of tactics that the group pulled. Pretending that they're, oh, can you help me? Please stop the car, and then they attack the car, ambush the car. It's a survival move, obviously. We don't know the name of this group, but I want to show you this. Apparently, the character, the leader of the group, her name is Kathleen, and she is played by one of my favorite actresses, Melanie Linsky. If you have watched Two and a Half Men and that Hulu miniseries Candy, Melanie is a fantastic actress. So let me show you this. Okay, let's get the screen up. This is from comicbook.com. Let's figure out who Kathleen is together, will you? All right. So Kathleen is an original character. Okay, so it's not based on a character from the game. Kathleen is an original character created for the show. During a panel at the Brazil's Comic Con this past winters, I'm sorry, not winter, we're still in winter, this past December, series writer showrunner Craig Mazin revealed that Melanie Linsky would play a leader of a group that in the game are known as the Hunters. So the group is from the game. They're called the Hunters. Again, I'm not a gamer, all right? So those of you who played the Last of Us game could fill in the blanks for me. But apparently the leader is an original character. So this Kathleen is not from the game. Melanie's Kathleen is a very complicated character, says Marzin. She's a brilliant actor, and we needed somebody who could portray somebody that was doing terrible things. But then, when you got to know her, you understood why and actually felt for her. One of the things that The Last of Us game writer series co-creator Neil Druckmann created with the game was this philosophy that no one is ever purely good and no one is ever purely evil. We have the capacity to do both, and Melanie Linsky plays somebody that I think you're gonna hate and then you're gonna love, and that's great, right? That's great. We want that from a character, a gray shades of gray character, a character that lives in the gray areas. You know, makes the relationship or the dynamics all the more complicated in this post-apocalyptic world where it seems black and white, where everything's for the take, like we gotta kill or be killed, situation. Here comes Kathleen that makes that may or may not be a bad or a bad guy, if you will, or an antagonist. May not be or may be, depending on how the story progresses. Right now, tonight's episode, we only got a glimpse of her, not much of her. She's, giving out orders to everybody. Of course, we see her with that super secretive mystery beast that's coming out. I'm sure those of you who played the game would know and would tell me what that beast is about. That's about to burst out of the cocoon. But we saw much of her people attacking Joel and Ellie, and we saw that tonight's episode. So hopefully, according to IMDb, she's gonna show up a couple of times. Here's Melanie Linsky's IMDb. She's gonna show up at least 2 episodes, maybe more. But right now it's only listed 2 episodes. But she's a fantastic actress, and I would love to see more of this Melanie Linsky's arc. Oh, why am I giving my email away? Okay. I interviewed Melanie before, back in 2007. So you can just on YouTube type in Rama screen Melanie Linsky, and you'll see here. Maybe let's see if I click in. Yeah, the ad shows up first, of course. So
introducing the easiest way to get into an Audi. Audi on demand. Rent the car.
Thank you, Audi.
Own the experience.
If only Audi paid me directly for the ad.
How are you doing? Have you had a good night?
Yes, very busy.
Yeah.
So congratulations. How does it feel that the movie's coming out?
It's wonderful. It's really exciting. I haven't.
It was an independent movie called And Then I Go. That was back in 2017. Melanie Linsky was fresh off of the 2.5 Men show, and she's just rising her way up to as an actress. So you can watch my interview with Melanie Linsky. It's an old one in 2017. But anyway, so back to the thing. So I like her. She's a fantastic actress, and hopefully we get to see more of her character and how she embodies this Kathleen, this complicated gray areas Kathleen that's original for the show, not based on the game. Let's see what's next on my note here. So the fight the dead, fear the living formula that I mentioned to you was from The Walking Dead. and it's the formula that this show adopts. Obviously, as we mentioned before, that this show, this adaptation, as great as it is, it has taken its own DNA. It's taken its own route. It's forging its own path. Kind of deviates away from the game in some elements, including expanding the story of Bill and Frank, and everybody loved that, except for the homophobe haters out there. That was a beautiful episode last week. I don't know why people are just so they're so narrow-minded, man. I saw some of the homophobic reaction to last week's episode. It's like, why? Why are you so filled with hate? Like, can't you just live and let live? Let people love whoever they want to love? Like, I don't get that, man. I don't get where this narrow-minded hatred, sense of being, like, that's got to be exhausting to be hating people, right? I mean, I don't know. So, so we know that this show has taken its own DNA now, and that's cool. That's cool that it's making its own unique path. It doesn't. Not everything has to be 100% exactly, faithful adaptation of the video game. Not everything. Not everything has to be play by play. You know what I'm saying? As long as much of it is, because you don't want to be the difference to be too stark that everybody's just gonna be pissed off about it. So, but the formula, that's the Walking Dead formula: fight the dead, fear the living. I knew this gonna happen as a non-gamer, but as a fan of post-apocalyptic drama, because that's what else can you do with post-apocalyptic drama other than that? You know, you fight the dead, fight the clickers in this case, the infected, and then you fear the living or fight the living as well at the same time. And that's all. That's basically all the two that you have. The dead apparently on The Last of Us will come in different shapes and sizes, and maybe bigger monsters will show up. But that's about it. The only difference, the only thing that at the heart of The Last of Us is this journey of Joel and Ellie. And tonight's episode, I think the writers did a fantastic job of humanizing this trip, this journey that they have together. That they're not that there's that it doesn't have to there doesn't have to be animosity throughout the whole thing. Joel doesn't have to dwell in, oh, Tess, I miss Tess so much the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, People grow together. People grow to like each other. So that's the point of today's episode. That apparently Joel's like, you know what? It's not so bad. It's not so bad. Sure, I still have to guide this kid or babysit this kid to Colorado. Is it? But you know what? The journey doesn't have to be miserable. So that's the point of it. Although now the hunters are hunting them down, it's going to be interesting, especially at the end of tonight's episode when there's a gun just like staring down at them. It's like, oh my God, So we'll see. We'll see how many episodes we're gonna have to deal with the hunters before they're gonna have to once again deal with the dead or the clickers. Again, great production design, the post-apocalyptic drama thing, the whole town getting abandoned, deserted. Fantastic look. The designs are great on this episode. Love it, love it, love it. You know what? I'll end on this. This show makes me want to see the walkthrough, the gameplay on YouTube. And I'm sure there's a lot of gamers that have posted a lot of their gameplay walkthrough of The Last of Us or The Last of Us Part 2 video games on YouTube. I want to see it now. Now it makes me all the more curious to see, maybe do some comparison, even though I'm not a gamer and I've never played the game, but I would love to watch it at least to see, okay, how far the writers of this show have taken this show, on going down this path, and compared to how far the games have gone. Because my cousin Kevin, who played the game, said on the game it's the spores, and the way Tess died on the game is different. And then he said something about the scientists that they meet might have their own agenda. So all these things, it'll be interesting how the writers of the show or the adaptation would follow the game. Because right now, there's differences, and that's cool. That's really cool. I don't mind that at all. Coyote Clone says, another girl boss. Another girl boss indeed. And Ellie in a way kind of is a boss herself. She is a tough cookie, man. And Bella Ramsey is fantastic in this role. She is so feisty and foul mouthed. And you know what? Oh, I forgot. I forgot that whole thing with the whole she she had to shoot the guy, and and it plays into the theme of Joel feels on tonight's episode. Joel felt like you're a little girl. You're a kid. You're not supposed to have to deal with these things. I'm the adult. I'm the grown up. I'm supposed to be the one who's shielding you, protecting you, doing, getting my hands dirty. I'm the one supposed to be doing that, not you, not you. So that's another sweet, heartfelt, whatever adjective you want to put there, layer on top of the funny bonding of Ellie cracking jokes. And I love that. Now, because Joel lost her daughter, right? So Joel has that sort of, I don't know if Joel can see that in Ellie. Maybe he chooses not to, but yeah, Joel is very protective. Whether or not he wants to be, he's not realizing it. He becomes a father figure to Ellie, and it's like, I gotta make sure she stays a kid. She's been exposed to many things before she met Joel, right? She said she hurt somebody in the past. So Joel's mission now, on top of bringing Ellie to this destination, is to make sure that Ellie doesn't have to always make the tough decisions. That I would be the one to get to make those tough decisions, not Ellie, and that's cool. That's really cool. Makes me like Joel all the more as a protagonist, as a hero of the story. He's really, really cool. Um, and Mad Max is here. Mad Max says these two actors act like father daughter in real life. They have a good connection each other. Yes, and the performances are just, it clicks, man. The chemistry, this father daughter chemistry between them, it just clicks. Um, it doesn't seem forced. It doesn't seem like they're trying too hard. It doesn't seem like something is missing in the mix. There's like Pedro and Bella really did their best, I should say. Really did their best, effortlessly in making this connection, father figure daughter connection works. And that's at the heart of The Last of Us. That makes it unique, as opposed to the formula of fight the dead, fear the living, which is a common, overly used formula in every post-apocalyptic zombie shows or movies, including The Walking Dead. So that's something to be expected. Yeah. So capitalizing on this connection, this father figure daughter relationship, is what tonight's episode did, and tonight's episode did in spades. Tonight's episode did marvelously. Fantastic. Another great episode in my opinion. Last week was beautiful, and tonight was another awesome episode. So that's it. Those are all the bullet points that I have. Again, make sure you go check out my old interview with Melanie Linsky on YouTube. Let's watch a few of it again. So yeah, it's an independent movie back in 2017 that she was a part of. It's called And Then I Go. So go check out my interview with Melanie Linsky, a fantastic actress. And if you're wondering why the accent, is because I think she's from down under. Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah, she's from New Zealand. Hence the accent. Of course, she doesn't have the accent on The Last of Us. But yeah, great actress. Looking forward to many of her appearance as Kathleen, the leader of the Hunters, on the subsequent episodes. Let me know your thoughts about tonight's episode 4. What did you think of it? Um, did you like it? Did you not like it? Why? And what did you think about Melanie Linsky as Kathleen, the leader of the Hunters, who is not an original who is not a character based on the game, but an original character for the show. What did you think? And what do you think about the relationship dynamics of Joel and Ellie from tonight's episode? The jokes that Ellie shared and the whole thing. Okay, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And thank you, Coyote and Matt Max, for tuning in with me on the chat. Let's rock this. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.